Is China a threat to the United States? A question that has probably crossed many of your minds in the past 10 years as we witness China emerge as a new superpower. There are many reasons why people say yes to this question. It might be the fear of communism expansion if you're the nostalgic kind of person. If you're not though, there's still tons of things you can be afraid of. For example, China has over 100 intercontinental ballistic missiles capable of carrying nuclear warheads that can hit America with a press of a button. Or maybe the fact that America owes China well over $1 trillion in debt, an amount that can cause the US economy to collapse if China ever chooses to let go of these securities. Or maybe you're just a simple citizen, like Eric Cartman, 4th grader from South Park, Colorado, who has this to say about the Chinese after watching the opening ceremony of the 2008 Beijing Olympics. No, the Chinese! Somebody has to stop them! They're going to take over the world! There's 2 million of them and their economy is getting better, and with all the advances in technology, they're going to break down America. But I'm here today to convince you that the threat of China is about as real as reality TV. Through an economy and military perspective, I will show you that there's no reason to fear China at all. It is true that China owns the most US debt out of all foreign governments and could easily topple the US economy by letting this $1 trillion slide to the secondary market. But economists believe there's no reason for them to do such a thing. Kimberly Amedio, a veteran economic analysis, says that China will not let go of the US dollar unless they find their holdings declining in value too fast and had another market to sell their products to. We have to face it, at the end of the day, many of the goods made in China are consumed by the American people. Your clothes, your televisions, your iPods. By selling their dollars, made in China products will cost more in America, and with that increased price, demand for these products will go down, and in turn, the Chinese economy will suffer. This is why holding the $1 trillion is in China's best interest. China's economy is also weak at its fundamentals because of a dependency on exports. And with global recession at play, China will need a new way to generate a surplus if they can no longer squeeze the juices from trading. This new way, however, has yet to be found, since the domestic economy of China remains to be insufficient and weak, and the gap between the rich and the poor grows ever larger. There are 130 billionaires in China, and yet at the same time, 10% of the population survives on less than $1 a day. This is 10% of 1.3 billion people we're talking about. On a Congressional Research Service report titled, "Is China a Threat to U.S. Economy?" in 2007 by economists Craig Elwell, Mark Labonte, and Wayne Morrison, it was noted that even though the Chinese economy will soon overtake the U.S. economy, it will be mainly due to China's large population. China's living standard, on the other hand, will likely remain significantly below those of the U.S. for many years to come. This, so far, has been true. The average American still earns more than 15 times more than the average Chinese. And you can see China's economy is not as strong as it seems on the surface, and its prosperity is in fact very much dependent on the U.S. and the rest of the world. Now they'll feel a little more confident that the U.S. currency will not just collapse in the middle of the night. What about all the Chinese weapons and the $91 billion in military spending? According to the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, China has the second largest military budget in the world. But guess who topped China? That's right, old Uncle Sam with $692 billion. The United States might not be China's best friend, but even a 5-year-old knows that. You shouldn't mess with a kid 7 times your size in the playground, especially when that kid seems so eager to get into the fight recently. Doug Bando, a former special assistant to President Reagan, wrote in an article, "China's military rise means end of U.S. hegemony," published in 2009 in the Korea Times, that the Chinese military buildup so far has been significant but measured, and that the only threat it poses to the U.S. is its domination in East Asia and not the country itself. Henry Roseman, one of the world's top Confucian scholars, also wrote in his report, "Is China a Threat?" published on February 6, 2008 in Foreign Policy in Focus, that only those who believe that Fu Manchu is alive and well in the Middle Kingdom and fulfilling his dreams of world domination through a large and aggressive army still subscribe to the notion that China poses a global military threat. This might sound ridiculous to you, but according to a poll taken by CNN, it seems that more than half of the American population believe that Chinese is still a military threat. If you're asking, who the hell is Fu Manchu? Well, he's a fictional, stereotypical, evil crime genius associated with the Yellow Terror, introduced by the British. in the 20th century. This is how irrelevant the threat of China is. I hope today what I've said would at least give the class a peace of mind and a good night's sleep free from nightmares of a Chinese invasion. The threat of China is like this ball in my hand. And this is just one of those things you have to see to believe. Thank you.